This
So
conference will now be recorded.
so when I
Yes.
go in, oops,
Yeah, so it's going to want to put the common cuts along the little edges down between the parts.
yeah. So if I do that, oops, okay, there we go. All right. Blueprint, common parts. Ah, hold on. I'll get it right one of these days. All right. So now it's gonna try to get these little guys common cut in there, and I don't want that. And then common when I did common cut on the when I was laying it out on the sheet, it
Mm-hmm.
picked little ones too. So I was wondering, is there any way for me to tell it that I don't want these lines common cut and I don't want this common cut?
Yeah, since we basically designed our part with common cut in there, go ahead and delete those parts off the sheet or do your undo command to get back to where we just got an empty sheet. Go ahead and select and delete them, whichever way, however you want to.
Yeah, it'd be faster if I delete it.
Not that far though. Don't want the sheet. We can do hold down your shift key and or do
Okay.
it that way. That's fine. Okay.
Right.
All right. So yeah,
So
go ahead
so let
and
me ask
nest it.
this. If I did I at least start on the right path by taking and making taking these two parts
Yes.
and making it one? Okay.
Yep. Yep. That's good. Yeah. So go ahead and do your nesting. And what you'll do in this box here, you can go ahead and set up your sheet first if you want to. You can get that ready.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Go back to your
And
parts tab there. So in this
uh-huh.
case here, what you can do is that you got that common cut choice kind of in the middle of that middle screen there, where it's, got quantity, filler, rotation, step allow. So
Oh,
if you set that to no, then it'll leave, whatever your gap is. So right now your part distance is set to 0. So uncheck that box under part distance
gonna be a while.
because part distance right now is set to 0. So if you uncheck that box and set that to 1/8 of an inch or whatever gap you want between the pieces, then it'll put that gap between those parts, and then we'll be able to do just the common line cut on the long straight
So
edges.
so yep. So what is the difference between me doing this common cut here and then this checkbox here?
Well, the common cut that we just switched from yes to no just means yes, if I tell you to go ahead, I want to do common cuts, then this is a part that you can use as a common cut part. So that, let me just grab control here, request control,
Sure.
see things moving here. So so this common cut up here just tells iGEMS that you do want to allow it to be common cut. Whether you are actually going to common cut the part or not is determined by checking this box here. So, probably until now, you've probably always had this set to yes, and then
Uh-huh.
if you check this box, then that's ultimately going to determine whether iGEMS spaces the part based on this distance here or this distance here.
Gotcha.
So in this case here, we essentially don't want it to common cut around the outside and the short edges. So we told it no, we don't want a common cut. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you check the common cut box, it's not going to put these parts close together because you told it you don't want to allow it to common cut that part.
Gotcha.
So you could either leave this checked or unchecked. Might as well just leave it unchecked.
Yep.
So you go ahead and nest it now. And did I set it to no? Common cut no. Part distance 1/8 inch. I guess so. I guess that's a 1/8 inch gap, maybe. So yes, if we stop and okay. So if we zoom in here, we'll have our 1/8 inch gap between the pieces, Of course, this
Gotcha.
stays the same because that is the part. So.
Yep.
So now at this point, you can do it as normal. You can do your common cut command.
All right. Before we go down that route, I seem to have a little. Me and the move tool have had words.
Yeah.
So, but if
Right.
I
Yeah. Select
grab that
yeah.
and then
Hit enter, and then hit enter again. And then for the point that you're moving to, just right click, and then you R for centroid. And then yeah, you just kind of, let me just grab control here. So basically, since we want the centroid of the pink rectangle, I just kind of hover near, near that pink rectangle, and you can see how that yellow circle with the crosshair shows up in what is the center of the
yep.
sheet. So
Okay. Sweet.
handy once you get the hang of it.
Oh yeah. So now I can go to my cam tool, tool path. No wait. Now I need to delete I need to delete it, right? First.
Nope.
Okay. Part wise. Okay. Does it come down here? Process. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want to see where I pierce and I cut. And it looks like water's still on. Water's off. Comes back on.
Yeah, so that's the part-wise technique. So if you did the sheet-wise technique instead, what it would have done was gone up the center of those two parts first and then gone around it. So if you want to try that out, so you can do undo, do a couple undos, and then get back to the point where we didn't have a toolpath on there. Yeah, it's X out of there. Undo and undo again. All right, so go back to toolpath, common. So instead of doing part-wise, do it sheet-wise. It'll end up going up the middle of the parts and around it and do each part as one pierce.
Okay, so the sheet is what it's doing is it's looking at this. It's going to cut this sheet out and then the vertical lines. Whereas parts, it's going to do the
Well,
parts first.
yeah, well, a little different part-wise. It's basically breaking this up and seeing this still as two parts where so it was doing around the first part and then it did three sides of the second part, and then we've done four sides and then three sides. Whereas if you do it as the sheet-wise technique, it'll do it a little bit better, I think. So usually I like the sheet-wise technique. Sometimes the part-wise one comes in handy, but
yep.
So you'll see now it'll go up the middle first and keeps the jet. Oh, actually, okay, so it's doing that. But yeah, so it's gonna go around, do all the vertical slices first, and then come back and go around all the parts.
Yeah, which is fine because it's got that eighth of an inch separation between the two, so that's.
Mm-hmm.
Goes over there. Okay.
So I could do a video and show you how to do this all as one pierce. Advanced techniques and toolpath technology.
Okay. Yeah, if we get the one pierce, I think that'll help speed it up a little bit too.
Yeah, saves a lot on on-off valves and needles and seats and things like that.
Yeah, because I mean, if that's also hard on the machine too, coming on and off, on and off.
Yeah, so let me just take these guys here. Let me copy. All right. So, So what we could do is basically, or maybe, because we could, if we started up here and come down and whatever way around the sheet, actually, we come up, we go around, we stop. Well, we don't stop, but then we go up, around. Now, let me show you a couple different things. All right, so a couple different ways of doing this here. So we go into toolpath manual, and at the bottom, select toolpath or press enter. I hit enter because I'm doing a new toolpath. So 0 point would be basically where you're starting, where you want to start for your pierce. So what I will do is I'm just going to kind of start over here somewhere. Where's our midpoint? So we're going to start over here. So you click, and then we're going to do start for our pierce, and then the type of pierce that you want to use. And then you can specify your length of your lead in, and fixed length means it's going to use that length lead in, and then we can set our tool on the left and click on OK. And then basically we can go to we're going to start lead in at the midpoint here of this edge. So if we zoom in here a little bit, so there's a little rapid move, which will not matter. And then you got your lead in. And then we can use this follow to command, and we can have it come up this way and basically come up to this point here on this part. And then once we get up there, then we're gonna jump that gap and continue on to the other side of the part here. So sometimes I don't know why this part's doing it, but it's basically when it's going through here, it wants to know which way to go to get to its next point. Usually you don't have to click quite this often, but something about the geometry here. But let's see, click, click. So I'm just left clicking just to tell it which direction to go here. Left click, left click. All right, so right now, that's where we went to. Now to jump this gap here, you can use this line command. So I can either draw a line to that endpoint there, or since this is a continuous straight line, I can just draw the line over to this endpoint here. And then I hit enter, and then I can go back to my follow to command and have it come down here. So I use this manual command quite a bit for water only things to keep the jet on and make it do things that it normally wouldn't do. So it's one of my favorite commands. A little bit tricky to first get used to, but once you get used to it, it's can be pretty handy.
Okay.
So go that way. So if you hover your mouse in the wrong direction, it'll end up like going the wrong way. So if that happens, you can always just hit enter and do a undo.
Okay.
All right, so here again, we did like we did before, use a line command, jump the gap and come over to here, and then back to the follow to command. And we're gonna follow it back to where we started, which was our midpoint up here. All right, well that one only had to click once. So we got that. Let's see, click on done. I think, let's see, is this part still connected? Let's see, yes, that's all joined together. All right. So then what we can do is go back to our nesting. And so we're gonna nest this. Now, right now, that toolpath isn't actually connected to the part. And you can tell that by if I can click on the red line and I just select the red line. If I click on the part, it doesn't select the red line. Whereas normally when you do that, it'll select the entire thing. So right now this is a disconnected toolpath. So when we nest this, it's a little bit different. So we select the part and then we select our sheet. All right, so it shows the part, but if you were to nest this, it wouldn't nest the toolpath with it normally because the toolpath isn't connected to that part. But they did add this button here. This is actually as a result of the training that we did a few months back. So you click on the attach button here, select objects, you can just drag a box around this, and then it'll attach that toolpath to that part now. So let's see, that is still set to no, so that's okay. We'll go ahead and nest it. And that'll be fine. Okay. Close. So, oops, oh, I didn't set that gap was still set to 0 on the material.
Oh, that 1/8 inch.
Yeah, let me do that again here. Good review. All right, so we attach the toolpath to the parts and set this to 0.125. Okay, nest. Okay, stop. Okay, close. All right, so now we got those toolpaths on there. And then for these common cuts, you could do it like we did before and have it just do that, or you could also use the manual command and basically pierce and just come up all the way to the top here, leave the jet on, come over, come down, over, up, and kind of zigzag like that through the sheet there. So go toolpath manual, and I hit enter because I'm doing a new toolpath, and then where I want to pierce at for this first one. Actually, let me center this on the sheet first, like we did. Let's see. Select, move, base point, enter. Oops, gets me every time. I press M on GoToMeeting and it thinks I want to do mirror. Move, base point, specify point, centroid. There, all right. Toolpath. You should just add that to your quick access bar up there. All right. Okay, and actually I'm not doing that. All right. Toolpath, manual, enter, 0 point. So just basically click down here for the start, the 0 point. Doesn't really matter. And then we do our start. And again, we're going to do tool on the left, our lead in length. Click on OK. So since I'm doing tool now, tolerance is probably critical, but since I'm doing tool on the left, I'm going to click on this endpoint here, and that would offset it to the left of that line there. And then you can just use the line command, and you can go all the way up to the top.
Okay.
And then you can just go wherever far beyond you want to go. And so I'm just randomly going to click here, and then you can come over to here. So coming over to here, if I right click, this point filter one is also quite helpful for these filters, X point filter. So the first place it wants to know is my X coordinate. So I'm using this as my X coordinate for where I'm going to, and then this will be my Y coordinate. So it draws a line to this X and that Y. And then we can bring it back down. So obviously it's, it becomes a question of like, is this a job that you're going to run hundreds of times and it's worth it to take an extra like 5 or 10 minutes to do this, or is it just a one-off job where it might not be worth the extra time? But it's just want to show you a little bit different technique. So
sure.
So X and Y. Why won't it find it? I'm just gonna approximate that one. And then we'll do the same thing. Come up to here. And come over to here. Point filter X. And I don't know why, but it's not letting me pick that endpoint there. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Close enough. And somewhere down here. And somewhere over here. Point filter X, Y. And somewhere up to here. And point filter X and Y. And boom. So that's one way of saving some pierces in time. So then you got your cut sequence, and then so we right now do that first, and then go around and do the parts like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one option. The the other option would be if we wanted to get fancy is doing the manual command, basically coming up here, going around, and then when we get to the end here, we basically go up and continue on and do the same thing around here. And then when we get to the top, then you could come over. So you could do it as one pierce. That might be a little time consuming, but that's one way to save some time in pierces is doing something like that.
Sure. Okay. So then. Oops.
Yeah, so just click on the bullseye, the little target thing in the lower left-hand corner. There you go.
Start there. Oh, I see how it's doing it. Okay, that's what it's doing. And just rabbits over there. Huh, okay. I follow it. Cool. That sounds like a wiener. Oh, click the bullseye. Yeah, put that on my desktop. All right. So we're good with that one. Thank you for showing me that. The one last thing that I wanted to take your time on is, well, let me save this real quick. And that's 8 layout. Yep, there we go. So I have, oops. Oh yeah, you know what? That's the other thing. See, I get this error message when I'm trying to open up a new file.
Yeah, because you're not actually in a new file right now. Like when you click on cancel for a moment.
Yep.
Like right now, you're not actually in a file.
Uh-huh.
It's just like a blank nothingness right now. So yeah, you have to start a new.
New. Okay.
Because
Ah,
then you can do it. So,
gotcha. That is helpful. So I got a 3D. It's a pretty simple design.
mhm.
Da, 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 da.
If it's a 3D, then we're gonna have to go into the 3D 5X module to open it.
Well, no, it's not. It's
Oh,
I'm starting
that's
it
a
out
D.
as I wanted to ask you if this is even possible to do 83420. Uh, Okay. So it's possible for me to make a 3D in iGEMS just using these two profiles, right?
Yes. Might have to
That's
do a little
basically,
bit of drawing, but so you got a bevel cut there.
yeah.
Right. So let's see, what do we got here? Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh crap. That's. I mean, well. I mean, it's not gonna kill me.
Hmm.
It being that off. No, no. I was just talking to myself.
Oh, and this is that there. Okay. Let's see. Let's clean this up first. So make things a little bit easier when we bring it in there. We can draw a rectangle that would represent that while we're in here, because I find the CAD in here a little bit easier than um, the other area. So if we start here and then snap from here and hold on, snap from 0, go up. Yeah, so that should be,
Oh, I see what you're making. You're making the top edge.
yeah, so that should be that. Okay. So now, and then we got that, so we can, that's our total depth here. 2.
That's the yeah. That's the thickness of the foam.
All right, so let's just change that to that for right now. Yes, go
Um,
in. Hmm?
no, it's 2 1/8. It's 2 1/8. Um,
The
and
actual thickness.
yeah, in this direction here,
Oh,
it's two and an
okay,
eighth. So this would have to be 2 1/8, right?
right. Should be.
I think we just. Oh, okay,
Right,
okay, gotcha.
right. So let's see, what's the easiest way to do this? Top, bottom. Yeah. Uh, so
You'd
they got,
ha-
yeah. Sorry?
you'd have to do 5 surfaces then, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, actually 6, 7, maybe.
So we'll have top and bottom of the material, and then we're gonna cut the bevel, and then we'll come along and do the vertical cut.
Okay.
Let's see what happens here. All right, so if I click on the ruled here, so wants to know what I consider the top. So if I highlight this to be red and I left click and then I hit enter, and then the bottom, so that's the blue, so I left click for that and then hit enter. So now it brings it in here. So that's all well and good. Now we just have to move or copy one of these up so we can use that as our, where that bevel's intersecting. If I use the
Oh,
copy
okay.
command here.
You're gonna take that
Yes.
bottom one, okay, and copy it up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna move this up by the 625. I think it was 625, right? And then enter or escape.
And that's just an arbitrary height that you've picked, right? It doesn't really matter.
That was off the drawing. So let me go.
Oh
And
yeah, well it's got to come up. It's got to come up 3/4 of an inch.
was it
Okay.
3/4? Oh, yeah. Hold on here. Uh,
Oh,
that's
0.25. Okay.
so yeah, basically, move that up 625. So let's see, double click, go back in here. All right, so now we've got some things that we can choose edges from. So, we go cam, or do we already have edges? I think it's already gonna have the edges in there. Yeah, so it's already found the edges because the way we brought it in here.
Uh-huh.
So once you've got the edges, you can go to toolpath and we can add our toolpath. So we'll do the bevel cut first. So select upper curve, which will be this, and we'll start here. Whoa. Start here, and endpoint will be down here, and we're going in this direction, so I left click, and then the lower curve is this one.
Uh-huh.
And so let's see, it's gonna be a little bit confused, but we'll have to fix that. All right, so this is our lead in, so I hit enter for that, and then some lead out. So right now, because of the way this model is, you can see this where the stream is projecting, which that is not
Yeah.
where we want it to be going. So we're gonna change, I'm gonna change this cut type to fixed, which normally fixed would be like in this case here, it's just going vertical. But if you click on this little edit button here, you can either give it an angle or you can give it a 2 points to go through to figure out what the angle is. So if I do the 2 points option, and if I go from, say, midpoint of this line, which is somewhere, where's it? There's the midpoint there. There it is, midpoint there, down to midpoint down here. So 45 degrees.
Yeah, I try to pick a real simple design.
That's good. I like that. Yes, that gives us our angle cut there. And then for the vertical one, since we would be turning off down here, we might as well choose like this corner here to start our vertical cut. So we can go back to plus again, upper curve, and we're gonna start here. And then, actually no, I need to select the bottom actually of the part because that's not gonna work if I go around there. So go back to plus again. So upper curve is actually going to be the bottom of the part, or I could use either of these two here since those basically represent the footprint of the part. So I'll choose this one here. So start point, hit enter for endpoint because I want to go all the way around, and we're going to go in this direction. So I left click and then lower curve. And then I do my lead in and then a little bit of lead out. All right, probably shorten that up. So, and that's at 0 degrees. So that looks okay. All right, so close it and set our rapid lift. Set our 0 point somewhere on the part. top. We set it box. Set it top corner there. All right, and then we'll go ahead and create date part. Oops, let's write this Control All, done. Set our 0 point. Click on the part button so we get the proper Z height. And then, let's see. Did we not? Oh, I think we didn't tell it was a 5-axis machine. That's why it's not tilting. Okay. Next, we got the 2D machine selected.
Oh. Okay.
So we got that. How many of these do you need to cut?
I will tell you here in a second. -4B. I need to cut 888 pieces. And looking at it, probably get 33 on a plank on a 48 by 96.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, sorry, I hit the mouse by mistake.
All right, let's see, 48 by 96. Let's see here. No. So we might want to then do this without the toolpath on the outside and probably common cut it to save some time, of course. Let's see what happens now if we do it
You
like
think
this.
it'll put them?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to see what it's going to do
Probably
here.
put them. Yeah, it might put them back to back where that little chamfer where your target is.
Yeah.
If we just call that the front side, it might put them back to back, which would be nice.
All right. I guess because it's a 3D 5X part, it doesn't. I'm looking at sheets. Common cut, yes. Let's see. I guess we need more than one on there.
There you go.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Then what you could do is what we could do would be if we did like we did on the other part, put 2 of these back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Which means we should delete the toolpath that's currently there. So
Did you delete all the toolpaths or just oh, you just did the perimeter, not the 5-axis toolpath?
Yeah, because we'll be able to reuse that.
Okay.
So what we'll do here is we will, let's see, I can do the rotate. So I do rotate, and then down here at the bottom, select all, or just drag a box around everything. And then where to rotate it around, so you can kind of see a little line, diagonal line type thing that's shown, or dotted line thing that's shown up there. So that's where it's going to rotate it around. And rotate it 180 degrees, and I'm going to keep the original. And then
if you keep the original, what it's doing, it's copying.
yeah,
All it's doing is just copying for you.
right. Of course, then I'm thinking I want to do mirror. Actually, I should have done mirror. Never mind. Backspace, undo. Let's do mirror instead. Mirror all. And we are going to give it a box to mirror this around. We'll mirror it around that face.
There you go.
There we go. So then we can do a, again, one cut, go up the middle and around the outside. Let's see what we got here. We may have to create an edge for that, because if I look at the curves right now, it's going to, yeah, so we'll just go ahead and create a new curve. That will be the toolpath that we want to do. So we can take one of these curves and I can, let's see, open curve. Let's see, or split. Let's do split curve. So that basically breaks that up into two curves, one here and one here. And I will use, where did it go? We got that, we got that. Oh, I'm gonna delete this one. Let's see. All right, let's take this one and we're gonna continue. And we're gonna go this way. And keep following that around. Yes, go this way. This way. And actually undo that last one. Yeah, let's see. Open curve. All right, so if instead I do line, edges, I do line from here to here. Let's see. That. Making a mess of this. Let's try that again. Can't join those together. Let's try again. All right, so it's going to here. I want to continue. I want to do a line from the other end. So I do L again. Change start point. Starting there, yes. And our line, change start point. Over to here. Okay. I think we got something we can work with now. All right, toolpath and upper curve, start there. So when you choose the endpoint, if I choose this endpoint here, it's basically going to only go up the middle of the part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zoom in here as close as I can and stop, go slightly away from here, so that it whoa, too far. Let's see if I move away just slightly here. Come on. And I want to go this way. I want to go this way. Lower curve, hit enter. Lead in. So right now it's at that 45-degree angle that we did the other part at, but we'll straighten that out here momentarily.
Okay.
Lead in, lead out. Let's see, fixed Z. Let's change that to just be straight. That is not quite, because all that did was went up the middle. Darn you. Minus, try that again. Upper curve. I don't want you anymore. Got that. Endpoint. Endpoint, we'll see here. I want you to go that way. There we go. All right, lower curve, hit enter, lead in. So we'll use the lead out to make sure we connect it at the end there and get separation.
Okay.
All right, so right now, so if I come over this way and hit enter there, then it's gonna cut across and separate that, and then go back and make that a straight cut.
Hmm.
All right. So we got that. All right.
Yep. There you go. Lower your rapids.
Yes, we need to. Yes, we need to change our standoff distance a little bit. So let's change. Oops, change that. Uh,
You gotta change them for all three. Or just
it should be fine. That one's vertical, so that should be okay.
oh yeah. It was just on the 5-axis.
Yeah. Let's see.
There you go.
Okay. Great. I'll do a new part so you can test that.
Yeah, let me change that real quick. Hold on a second. It's gonna be there. Click OK.
Okay, so do OK, select all, done. All right, so now if we nest this, let's see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could change that, shouldn't we? Yeah.
A little wider.
There you go.
Let's see.
Well, let me see how it comes up because because it wouldn't be common because of that chamfer on the side. Never mind.
Right.
I was
And
I
that,
was I was saying that this line here could be common, but since we have that little chamfer down there, it can't.
right.
We'll probably we're not gaining anything by doing that.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, that 1/8 of an inch is fine.
Okay. So then. So of course, normally if it was a single part, we'd click on the part button, but then that's going to move our 0, point to somewhere over here. So instead we click on this and plug in our material thickness. I gotta check something in the post. I should be putting a Z0 in there. Why isn't it doing that? So that's because that's set to no and no. That's better.
Right when it gets to that point there and it's water off, it travels back down, goes to the opposite angle, and then turns back on.
Right.
It's almost kind of like it's not.
Yeah, because we mirrored it, did that, so we can change that. Let's see, let's go back. Hopefully we only have to do it for the one part and update all the other ones. Let's see, so where are we starting?
Is it where you selected your start and your end point?
Yeah. So let's see, so that's the first cut. So it's starting here, coming down, and then it's coming back here. So we do this one here. Can I just change this? I should be able to change start. Toolpath needs to be closed. Okay, so we'll just delete it. And re-add it. And sorry, upper curve, start point, end point, direction, lower curve. And then our lead in and lead out. Oops. Oops, screwed that up.
Uh-oh.
So close. There we go. And then change this to fixed and pick points. So if we know it's 45 degrees, we can specify angle, but I always get this one wrong because
You
you have
don't
to
have
know.
the point to point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then you have to know like what the A and C are supposed to be. We can see A and C. Probably gonna get it wrong. Yeah, so let's see. 45, do angle 45 and C of 90. There we go.
huh.
So that's the other way of doing it. It just takes a little bit of trial and error sometimes to get the A and the C right. You know the A, but you have to tell which way it should be pointing in the clock direction to get it to go the right way. But
Gotcha.
that's the other way of doing it. And then we got to do our cut sequence correctly, so we got to change this. All right, so we'll do that, and then that, and then that. So we'll have to do our rapids again. So let's see. Oop. Do our standoff again.
Yeah.
0.25. So that'll be a little bit better. So did it update everything? It should have updated them all.
So you wouldn't re-nest it then. You would just come back to your process.
Yeah, because it should update the parts. Since you update one, it should update all of them. I'm hedging my bets by saying should, but I have great faith.
There you go. So water's on. Water's off. Comes back there. There you go. There you do your perimeter. Huh?
Did we go around twice?
Yeah, it almost looked like it went around twice there for a second.
Came down the middle, going up to that edge, coming around.
Okay, it looked like
Yeah, no, yeah, because it came down the middle first and then went back around. Yeah, it's down the middle, up the left edge, across the top, and then down the right edge. So,
yeah, okay. So it didn't do it twice.
no. But yeah, if you want to save a little bit of time, we could go and we could rotate every other one of those 180 degrees and keep it from having to rapid from end to end. How would we do that? Can we do that easily? Let me see. So if we come into here, so I can't just rotate them this way, could I? Would it be that easy? If I click those, whoops, let's try that again. Rotate. So if I rotate those, so the base point, I'm just going to hit enter because that'll be like the center point of those.
Mm-hmm.
Then the angle, 180 degrees. Keep original, no, because that would be really confusing. Let's see. It's going to start with this closest as placed. Where's it going to start? Closest. Move that one up. let's see how those ones do before I go any further here.
Yep.
Process.
Yep.
And then see what it does on the top row there. Which ones have to be rotated? Let's see, pause this.
Yeah, there you go.
So we could rotate
Could rotate that one
that
that it's
one.
on now, right?
Yeah, because it's rapiding all the way up to the top of the sheet. So
Mhm.
rotate that one and every other one. So right now it's probably going to wrap it down to the middle of the sheet. Should be okay. Where's it going? Yeah, so it's going all the way up to there again. Yeah, so if we rotate first, third, fifth on that row, I think. Let's see. Rotate. Not that. Don't want that one. 1, 2. Ah.
There you
Yes. All right. Rotate those. Base point, I hit enter. 180 degrees. Keep original. No. Let's just re-add that. Oh, I didn't set. Gotta make sure I do this too. So. And then I'll do that. So if we zoom in, we can kind of see the rapid lines here, what it'll be doing.
go. Yep.
Okay. And then finally, we can just center it on the sheet again. So move base point, hit enter, or centroid. There. I should then move this. Put it on the corner and make sure that that's 2. Alrighty. Well,
Awesome.
I guess we got 800 and some odd of them to do. It's worth it to take the time to do that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I came up with the old way of looks like 33. I was able to get 33, but that was cutting them.
Mm-hmm.
I think even though I'm getting less on a plank, I'm actually my advantage is the speed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's get
that works
16.
out.
So we got 34, don't we? Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 8, 16, 17 times 2, 34.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 16, 18. Okay, yeah. 6. So yeah, actually I squeezed out a little more. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. And let's see. On that. And theoretically, they shouldn't cut into each other.
Yeah, if you were thinking about moving it a little bit closer.
No, just want to make sure that's. But
Oh,
iGEMS is pretty
that is
good as
the
far as calculating how close it can get those with the way the stream projects.
gotcha. Yeah, so it doesn't cut into the to the next part.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
So you can make your CNC file and give that one a try.
Yeah. Oops. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Because we're not running abrasive on there. That. And we are good to go.
Cool.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for another very, very informative help here with iGEMS.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully it saves you some time and makes you some money.
Absolutely. That's the name of the game. That way we can spend some more money and get another water jet.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the direction that they're wanting to go in. So it's I know that there's talk about it, and where
Right.
that's going to happen is going to probably be on this side where we're showing all the efficiencies and how much money we're making and how much money we're saving. So
Right.
makes the story a lot easier for the next one.
Good.
All righty, sir.
Good luck.
All right, you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.